Well, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk on the Rock Rage Radio Network. And as I have a little thing that I always do with my guests, anybody that's on the show knows, I get them to say and spell their name for Jason McCorson, my producer. And I'm going to get this gentleman to redo that because when he was doing it, I was just like, whoa, I'm going to mess that up. So without further ado, we have...
What's up? I'm Fang VonWrathenstein, aka Ty Christian. That's my mortal alias. When I go incognito amongst the mortals. And also, Fang VonWrathenstein, I don't know if you've ever been down to the DMV, but when they give you those little boxes to fill out, put your name in, there's never enough boxes for Fang VonWrathenstein. So I'm like, okay, what's the shortest mortal alias that I can do? And I thought Ty, T-Y, 2 letters, easy, right?
Yeah,
so there you go.
Well, I mean, it's quite the handle, and I mean, it would look good on I don't know, like if you're working at a fast food restaurant, like a name tag or something like that. You'd probably have to have one the size of like a telephone or something, right?
Yeah, they'd have to give me like a double name tag, or it would be like Fang VonWrathenstein. It'd be one of those.
So I love that stuff because I mean I immediately get a very kind of theatrical overview. I'm anybody that knows me, I'm a huge proponent of that type of thing. I mean, I grew up, still do to this day, Kiss is my favorite band, but I love that, some of the stuff like, I'm just trying to think here, like some of that theatrical, rock and metal. And so just tell us a little bit about what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, so we bring the fire and explosions and confetti and swords and armor to your local establishment, basically. They have to triple insure themselves for fire once we come through because we do bring a lot of pyro. Probably not as much as Kiss does. One can dream, right? One day enough pyro. Like first you get to the Kiss level, then you get to the Rammstein level. That's the type of pyro that I'd like to do. But yeah, we're a power metal band out of Madison, Wisconsin. We tour around the world. We sing songs about fire and explosions and dragons and space mining robots that go out of control and all sorts of fun, power metal stuff. We bring a real big show and everybody has a really good time. And most people either leave with melted faces or melted some part of their body, but we got a really good plastic surgeon on the line. We've got a referral program with Lords of the Trident, so not to worry, just bring your strongest armor. We'd recommend obviously some head armor, some helmets, that kind of thing, as you come to the show.
Absolutely. And why a Canadian would know this, but he does, but Madison, Wisconsin is the home of the late great Chris Farley, and you would know that and I know that.
That's true.
When you're talking to me about this, and I remember a number of years ago, I used to live in Toronto, but we would go to Chicago, and they used to have this. It was the dinner theater thing, like the nights, and what you're talking about. Medieval times. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Would that be an accurate kind of depiction?
Oh yeah, I'd say so for sure. Yeah, medieval times meets heavy metal, I think is a good way to put it for sure. I think if we ever have a like an autobiography, like a book that we write after all of this, we talked about this a while ago. I think the title would be "Drunk in a Medieval Times Parking Lot: The Lords of the Trident Story."
I love it. So when you guys go in and do a show, and nothing, I guess, irks me more than when you go to a show and basically, the band I play in, we look like a band. And I had a guy one time we were on a break, and he's like, you look like a band. I can't tell the difference between a band and the guys eating the chicken wings. Meaning, nobody goes the extra mile to put on a show. So when you guys are setting up, what's your prep time for something like this?
Well, I agree with you 100%. I played in a bunch of other bands, and I kind of got sick of the whole like jeans and t-shirt thing. I got sick of people not paying attention to the performance aspect of the show. I mean, it's called a show; it's not called a listen, right? So
yeah.
We try to put on a really big production. In terms of the prep time, we have gotten it down to 15 minutes, which is kind of extraordinary when you consider all of the props and costumes and all that sort of stuff. But we're I guess by this point we're pretty much like road dogs. I mean, we've been playing for a long time at many all sizes of different venues, from the smallest to the largest that you've seen. And so we're prepped for just about any situation, and we can get on and off the stage pretty quick. But yeah, when I designed my new armor, I bought a half a cow on a Black Friday sale for $70, and I taught myself leatherworking, and I made my new sets of armor. When I made that new set of armor, I was like, okay, I need to make sure there's like snaps and clasps on it so I can like get in and out of this thing in like record time. So yeah, we're very aware of the turnover time for sure.
Well, so before we get on to the music, because I want to talk about what you were just saying there just a little bit. And I mean, I know the people that are the traditional, oh my God, you got to play 8 million notes and kind of, wear a certain hat and have a, a cigarette with the filter on it and play properly. I don't want to offend those guys, but, one of the things is that doing this thing, the do it yourself thing, there's all kinds of ways you can do it. Like I've got a friend up here that him and his girlfriend, they bought a projector and they get stencils and they put designs on their wall and hand paint them and they hand paint their clothes, and they're the coolest looking people at any party that they go to. Right. Jeff and Jerry, by the way. So I mean, what you're saying to me is there's really no excuse. If you want to put the effort in, you can look pretty darn cool for very little money.
Absolutely. And I mean, like that extends to just about any aspect of the music industry. I mean, we shoot our own music videos. We up until, a couple days ago, we book our own tours. We just got signed to Continental Touring, so that's exciting. But like we basically do everything. We ship our own merch, we print our own t-shirts, we run our own live streams. I mean, we live in the age of the internet where you can pull out your phone and ask a question and you have basically the world's knowledge at your fingertips. All you got to do is do a little bit of reading and digging and experimenting. And so I think if there's any strength of Lords of the Trident and maybe of me, it's that I'm not really afraid to give things a shot and see if I can do them. And that's gotten us quite a ways. I mean, at this point, I can't even tell you how many music videos and I think we've made over 500 videos on our YouTube channel, but I think, in terms of actual produced music videos, it must be in the 30s or something like that, which almost no band has. So it's one of those things that's really that spirit has really done us a service.
Well, now isn't it interesting that you mentioned you can go and take your phone and find something useful, yet people still choose to, have girls that burp the alphabet go viral. And that's the thing that you scratch your head and go, come on, right? Because I mean, I do this in addition to being a musician myself, but I mean, it's just like, it's frustrating what's acceptable to the people is quality entertainment, but that's the world that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the way of things? It's always the stupidest things that I make that are the most successful. I was on a stream, maybe about a year ago. I do these singing streams on Fridays, and we were singing Camelot. And a lot of people know how very like overdrawn and overwrought the Camelot singer is. Lots of dramatic breathing and and I love that shit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not ragging on him, but we had this discussion in the chat of like, I wonder if he walks around his day-to-day life, doing that, like he's at Target and he's like, can I return these pence? Oh, they're two sizes too small, And so I just like the next day I set up my green screen, and I mean, it must have taken me like a grand total of an hour. I did like how Camelot orders a coffee, and I went and I did him, like, can I have a latte, and did like a spoof on one of their songs. I mean, it took me like I said, like maybe an hour. And that damn thing, like that series, now it's a series. That damn series has seen more like views on TikTok and YouTube than just about anything I've made. Like the David Bowie one I made got like 1.5 million views in like 2 weeks. And I don't think I've got a million views on any of our music videos. So it's always the dumb, stupid stuff you spend the little amount of time on that gets you in the end.
It does. Are you familiar with the show, The Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's shot here. A bunch of people that I know are actors, and Randy, the guy that the cheeseburger guy, I went to school with him.
Oh wow!
I went, and he's a friend of mine. I moved to Toronto. They started in about 99, 2000. So I moved back. I see it for the first time, and I'm like, who created a show about a bunch of people that I went to high school with? I mean, and who would have thought that would have been an idea? But you're right. I hate to say people like mind-numbingly dumb, but I just think it's a sign of the times, right? It's like anything that gets their mind off all the crap that's going on, that's what they gravitate to.
Yep.
So let's get on to music.
All right.
So if and I hate to do the compare game, but it's the easiest way for me to have a viewer or a listener kind of figure out, okay, well, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to go check it out. So if I was to do, or you were to do a comparable for me, with you guys and somebody else, what would that comparable be?
Yeah, I think probably the closest, the band that we're sound the most like would be, I would say a little bit of Dream Evil, a little bit of Unleash the Archers, and a little bit of like Dio and Maiden. So if you slapped all those together, we're very much closer to like a US power metal kind of approach where it's a little bit harder and a little less symphonic. That doesn't mean we don't use any, backing symphonies or anything like that. But
Right.
it's a little bit less. It's a little bit more on the, the US side of power metal than it is on, say, the European side of power metal. So yeah, Unleash the Archers, Dream Evil, a little bit of Dio and Maiden, a little bit of classic vibes in there too.
And so I do love that because again, you kind of get a tinge of the grandiose, right? Like, I mean,
Yep.
and I don't like. I remember seeing Maiden for the first time here in my hometown. They opened the Power Slave tour, and I just remember going like, because I hadn't seen Kiss at that point, and it's just the stage sets. I mean, the playing was fantastic, but all the other stuff that was going on in addition to the music was just, I felt like I was at some sort of theater. Um, I'm guessing that's kind of the vibe that you guys are trying to portray.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I'm a big fan of big stage shows, a lot to look at and a lot to, to see. I like, like as Ingve said, more is more, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of my favorite quotes about Ingve, and it actually wasn't by him, it was by Joe Lynn Turner's when he left the band. He said, I quit due to religious reasons because Ingve thought he was God and I didn't agree. So there you go. Ingve spawns all kinds of good stuff. So what do you guys right now? What are you currently, out there showing like in terms of music? You mentioned you just got signed and got picked up by I'm assuming it's an agency or
Continental.
whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean that's going to get you guys obviously, and I hate the word exposure, but it's going to get you out there in front of people in different audiences, whatnot. What is it you guys are currently pushing to move the ball and move the needle?
Yeah, so we, in about in a couple days now, we're going to be releasing our 11th release, which is the VGEP. It's a brand new EP that we've been working on. Got a music video for each song. We've been slowly releasing them over the last couple months, and the last music video will release the second week of October. The CD will be out on October 1st. And then in about a month and a half after that, we are heading to Japan for a 2-week tour of Japan.
Wow.
And we're going to be doing that with our buddies in the band Seven Spires. And then early 2025, we're looking at another return to Europe. I haven't been back in quite some time, so I'm really anxious to get back and get on the road in Europe. And then also, we have the beginning inklings of a like a East Coast US tour, maybe a little bit into Canada. Who knows? I'd love to head back up. We typically go into like the London, Toronto, kind of Ottawa
Yep.
area, that way. It's a little bit easier to get there than like Vancouver, although we have played Vancouver before. Um, but so we have a bunch of touring plans. We're planning on continuing to do our live streams. We do a bunch of like live stream concerts for people who say might be in other countries or other places that we typically don't go, and they want to be able to see us live. So we do a lot of that. But yeah, at this moment, we're just planning on mostly prepping the new EP, playing that out for people, and really excited about Japan. We are bringing 40 of our fans along with us on the Japan tour. They've signed
Oh,
up for
wow.
this sightsee by day, follow us on tour by night package that we've set up with a tour agency. We did this before in 2022, and it was a smash hit. So we're doing it again. We're bringing double the people. I don't know how we're going to get 40 Americans on a bullet train in like under 3 minutes, but wish us luck, I suppose.
Well, how very Jeff Tate of you, because Jeff Tate's been doing those wine tours of different places and bringing 30, 40 people, and by day they tour a winery and drink wine, and at night they get to hear a concert. I think that's a great idea because that's kind of the friend of mine calls it the pop-up concert business, right? It's not your typical venue type thing. It's creative. It's outside of the box. It's getting value to people for what they're paying, which I think is fantastic. In Europe, I mean, I get to go for the first time last year, man, and I totally see why people love touring there. What a great deal.
Yeah, yeah, and for us, I mean, getting to play in front of a bunch of people is wonderful, but I think for a lot of bands, they're really looking to generate the connection with like super fans, with people who will, support you and be a real diehard fan of you. And I'll tell you what, like nothing would make me a super fan of a band more than like getting to spend quality time with them in a in a fun environment for a number of weeks in a place where like everything's kind of set up for you. You get to see them play live every night. You're kind of like, I don't want to use the word, but like almost kind of official groupies in a way,
Yep.
in like non weird connotation, if that makes sense. But it's that sort of a thing where it's like my wife and I speak Japanese. We've been over to Japan many times, and we have a lot of friends and host family over there, and we've had so many great experiences, and I'd love to just be able to open that up to other people who've never been, and do it in such a way that they feel, that they feel excited about it, and they get to like, see some of their favorite bands, spend time with their favorite bands, and also experience this amazing country. So I'm really looking forward to that trip. Last time we did it, I think it was the best tour we've ever done, honestly, personally. So I'm looking forward to one-upping it this time.
No, I think that's great because I mean things like that. I mean, this day and age, you got to up the game, right?
Yeah.
To me, expecting people to spend money on something that is, they can just put on a CD and listen to it, where there's no eye candy going on. And I'm not talking, half naked women. I'm just talking entertainment is I think it's very important. I've got a lot of friends that are argue with me, but the beauty of music, man, is nobody's wrong. It's what you like. That's what I like. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, just before we kind of wrap it up here, I'd like to ask you what the scene's like in Madison. I've been to Madison a number of times because I've both flown and driven to Chicago and Minneapolis. And when you drive to Chicago and Minneapolis from Toronto, you go through Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes, straight through.
Right through. I mean, and I've been there a number of times. And what's the scene like there?
Well, the metal scene has been slowly improving over the years. When we started, there really wasn't much to speak of in terms of a metal scene. And we have been essentially trying our best to cultivate a scene here in Wisconsin we started a festival called Mad with Power Fest. And it has grown over the years. It's on year 8 in 2025. It's now grown over the years to the US's biggest power metal festival, which I'm very proud of. And so, we've seen a lot more metal bands of all shapes and sizes and types kind of pop up around Madison as the scene has become more vibrant and grown. But, when we started, it was very much like a jam band and kind of like alternative rock, indie rock kind of a scene. It still is. It's still very, very good scene for that as well. But things have been improving on the metal side of things. Madison in general is just a really great music city that a lot of people don't really think of as a music city, but we have a lot of big music businesses here. We have Broad Jam, which is the number 1 or number 2 placement company in the entire United States for placing songs in like ads and movies and things like that. We have Sonic Foundry, who makes a bunch of amazing music software. We've got Full Compass, who's basically like a musician's friend competitor. There's a lot of really great music related things in Madison, and the city itself in terms of the governance is really arts forward. If Madison is known for anything, I think we're known for being the number 1 or 2 biking friendly city in the entire country, but also for our art scene. The city really pours a lot into arts in terms of public exhibitions and all that sort of stuff, music, paintings, opera, all that sort of stuff. And so I'm really grateful to be part of that scene and to help kind of help improve things in a way so that people think of Madison more as a destination for that rather than a bigger city like Chicago and Minneapolis. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Chicago and Minneapolis are great. We played both many times. I've had opportunities to spend quality time in both cities, and they're wonderful. But Madison has better parking and it's way cheaper. So it's like it's kind of a big small town vibe, if that's a way to put it. Like we have a lot of the amenities of a Chicago or a Milwaukee or a Minneapolis. And we don't have a lot of the problems of overcrowding and parking and crime and that kind of stuff. So I very much enjoy Madison, Wisconsin. Very much enjoy the local scene here. And I'm continuing to work to increase it, make it bigger, and help out as many musicians as I can in that process.
So you've heard the term sister cities, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit you with the term. It's going to be called Bizarro Sister Cities, because you mentioned Madison, is big on the arts and big on supporting the arts. And where I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, we like to think we are, but we're not. You said you're a good biking city. We like to think we are, but we've got all these bike lanes that they built that they claim people use. People are convinced that they do. We like to say we have parking, but we don't. But we're a small. People like to live here because it's a good place to live. So we're a bizarro sister city. How's that sound to you?
That sounds great.
Yeah.
We'll start an exchange program. How about that?
Yeah, well, my fear is my people will go to you and never come back. But anyway, that's another day. So just before we knock it off here, where can my viewers, my listeners, find out more about you guys and what you're up to, and and get your music and your merch and all that wonderful stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Best thing to do is just go to lordsoftheTrident.com. Obviously, you want to use your most metal browser to do that. Otherwise, the computer might explode. I think it's Chrome because no other browser is really named after a metal. But Firefox got fire in the title, so I suppose that's fine too. But yeah, lordsoftheTrident.com. You can check out just about everything that we're doing on there. We've got merch there, and links to all of our other social media and that kind of stuff. I would say number 2, if you want to get a taste of Lords of the Trident, is go to YouTube for sure and check out our YouTube channel. Like I said, we've got over 500 videos. We are very active on YouTube. We stream a lot there. We stream a lot on Twitch. And if you like what you see and you're like, hey, those Lords of the Trident guys, they're pretty all right. The best thing you can do is join our Patreon. We have a Patreon out there, patreon.com/Lords of the Trident. We are the #1 most supported independent metal band on Patreon right now. And it's for a reason. We do a lot of really great stuff. We give away a lot of stuff. If you want to get our music and you don't want to pay for every single album, if you join the Patreon at $5, you get access to our vaults. So you get the last 4 albums for $5. You get, I think we've had like 26 live albums from all sorts of different recordings we did over the years. We got 10 singles. So it's probably like a couple $100 worth of music for $5. That's patreon.com/Lords of the Trident. And you get early access to stuff, and free t-shirts and all that sort of stuff. So it's a great deal. So check that out. If you just type in Lords of the Trident into Google, we're like the first 50 pages, and then things start to get weird. So,
well, you know what? I'm glad we ended with that, because a big part of what I always talk about is marketing yourself, and I don't profess to be a guru, but I do have a network of people that when certain people are asking, how do I do so, how do I do that, I will go and ask questions. And so that little tidbit that you gave there, that last 15 to 20 seconds about Patreon, was lights out, because a lot of people are like, it's too hard. I don't want to charge people. At the end of the day, man, if you want to get paid, that's a good way to do it.
Oh yeah. And if anybody is interested in, setting up a Patreon, but they don't know where to start, I have spoken on Patreon in multiple music conferences all over the world. Just reach out, lordsoftheTrident@gmail.com. I would be more than happy to help and answer any questions you got about Patreon.
Outstanding, my friend. And I do have your email address. So what I will do is, as soon as this is published, I will flip you a copy, and it'll be going up on my social. And I would like to probably have a further discussion with you on some of that, because I'm always willing to learn, and I think it's great info, and I like that info. So I want to thank you for. We tried to do this the other day. We had a hiccup. We got her done, and that's all that matters.
All right, no problem.
Peace out.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you.